Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose. Affirmative.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds, welcome back to the greatest show on earth. Greg Anthony here. I'm the ringmaster for this COVID-19 crazy circus we live in. We know it's all not true, but we still believe these people. What is it? You're under a curse. Yes, a curse that we're going to break on this show one way or the other. I'm so sick of watching zombies walk around with masks. If the next person says, put on your mask, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll tell you later. But Greg Anthony here on the greatest show on earth. We're the greatest show on earth because it is better than living your whole life not knowing who really formed your country and for what reason, and not really understanding, if you're a Catholic or many of these religions, what the hierarchies of your religions are all about. And that goes for you Protestants, too, who are following all these people who sold out to the Vatican. Yeah, it's better than that. And it's better than living in a country where you're going to be subjected to mandatory vaccinations very soon. Did you hear Orange Man Trump yesterday? Oh, yes, I like his message. I would be a patriot, too, if he wasn't working for the New World Order. Oh, God, what a world we live in. But you hear him yesterday? Oh, we have 60 million contract tracers out there. We've tested 60 million people. Well, Mr. Trump, I have a guy on my show. I got an interview later this afternoon or morning or whatever time it is, in the second half hour, of a guy who was tested 8 times. Yeah, he hasn't been out of his house since, I think it was January. And he has no symptoms. He's just fine. That's what they're doing. But anyway, it's better than coming down with the COVID virus hoof and mouth disease. That's exactly what I have. Oh, yes, it's what I have. And you know what that's all about. Sometimes I start singing without... That's the stage I'm in. And it's, your favorite COVID virus song. If you're happy and you know it, stay in bed. Bum, bum. If you're happy and you know it, stay in bed. Bum, bum. If you're happy and you know it, and your life will really show it. And if you wake up, you really blow it, stay in bed. Boom, boom. If you wake up, you will blow it, stay in bed. Oh, boy. And you're probably wondering, it sounded like I was trying to be an opera singer, right? Well, I went to my psychiatrist, and he said, I'm not taking patients. I have to go see you. I can't figure out what's going on. But anyway, I locked him in his room for a while, and he diagnosed me with the COVID virus delusional syndrome. It's a new disease. It's the CVDS disease. I have it. And it was starting to display symptoms just this morning as I went outside. It's kind of like, I can only explain it this way. It is kind of like not having water in a desert for like 100 days and then starting to see a mirage. And the first one I saw, I was walking, just in a desolate place, and all of a sudden I see people dancing and singing and hugging and kissing, and I was so happy. I said, the world has changed. The curse has been broken. And guess what? I started running, and to hug this person, and it turned out to be a tree, and I just broke my nose. That's why I'm talking. I'm doing my best. But I broke my nose, and it was bleeding all over the place. And that's how it started. Then, guess what? I'm walking down the street, and you know how when you're a kid, you have a little park that you always go to play baseball. And the kids come about 8 in the morning. It's summertime. You bring your bats and your gloves, and you're just ready to pick up a game and hit a home run and catch a ground ball. And I'm walking by one of those little fields, and all of a sudden, I thought I was in Yankee Stadium. Yeah, I heard people yelling. I love baseball. I love the rosin bag. I love the pine tar. I love the dirt. I love the spitting, and that's all in the hot dog. But anyway, I thought I was in Yankee Stadium. I saw it. Hundreds of 40,000 people. The guy hit a home run 680 feet. That did happen yesterday. I read that today. I said, who hit 680 feet? That is crazy. 600, but it would happen. So I see all these people in Yankee Stadium, and I'm going, wow. So I start going around, and people saw me. I'm yelling and screaming, and they called the police. They said I was insane, and you know how that goes. All right, so I think I'm at a baseball game. It's all a mirage. It was all just the COVID virus delusional syndrome. If anybody else out there has it, let me know. Let me know. It's a terrible thing. But anyway, another day, and let's see. Having some states locked down and some other states locked down is like having a peeing station in a swimming pool, isn't it? And I've been quarantined now, how many days? 865 days. And man, I have to take the garbage out, but I can't figure out what I'm going to wear. What a difficult thing. Oh, come on, Greg, you got better jokes than that. Well, anyway, yeah, I have an interview with a guy who has had the coronavirus 8 times, says he feels better every time he has it. I'm going to have him on in the second half hour. But anyway, I'm trying to get an interview with a guy who claims he had a near-death experience, and that God told him that this was a hoax. God didn't create this. It was a hoax put on by man, and that Dr. Fauci really was the responsible, and he worked for the Jesuits. Okay, that's what he said he saw in this. God came to him, and I wouldn't doubt it. He's got to come down and help us through this. I mean, come on. I never thought I'd, say this. Remember, you say this. I wouldn't touch her with a 6-foot pole. I wouldn't touch him with a 6-foot pole. But I never thought it would become a national policy. Oh boy! How about the worst coronavirus joke you ever heard? Chuck Norris has been exposed to coronavirus, and the virus is now in quarantine for 14 days. There's no more virus. Chuck, thank you so much. But you know I'm a dog lover. I've had many, many dogs over the years, and I do that because I have a lot in common with them. Many, many things. I always said this. People used to ask me, how do you choose a place to live? And I said, well, you know something? I always want to live somewhere, and this was even before coronavirus, where I can just walk anywhere and take a pee, and nobody's going to arrest me. So that means I'm either somewhere way out on the ocean or somewhere in a mountain town where no one's around and I can just go out and pee on a tree. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you do it in the city, you get arrested. But then there's these people out there burning down federal buildings, and they don't get arrested. It's very confusing today. And governors are saying, oh, that's okay. They can burn down, do anything they want because they're basically socially protesting America. I mean, you took an oath, didn't you, for America? That doesn't make sense. I think their oath is for something else. But, the quarantine, though, has turned us, we're seeing our dogs. My dog, for example, had a problem. I had to take her to the vet. And the vet told me, you know something? Your dog has a sprained tail. And I said, how'd you get that? And I figured it out. I've been home so much, she'd been wagging her tail so much that she sprained her tail. But really, it's turned us in. Now you know what a dog is. I'm sitting here at home, and he looked at me. This is Santiago, my good friend. He said, now you know how I feel when I start chewing all the furniture. But we're like dogs. We roam around that. We're like them. We roam around the house all day looking for food, don't we? We are told no if we get close to strangers, just like dogs. Stay away, Santiago, no. And we really get excited about car rides now. Oh, can I go out for a car ride? Where can I go? Oh, maybe just go around the block a couple times and see if there's any people outside. That's the world we live in. But anyway, isn't it fun? It's always something new, isn't it, in this great world we live in? But it hasn't really thwarted me 1 minute. One minute? 1 minute seems like 1 day. 1 day seems like 1 week. 1 week seems like 1 month. 1 month seems like 100 years I've been sitting in this house waiting to go outside because the emperor has told me I can't go. What kind of America is this? Well, they're changing it. You know, Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, loves it. He made $13 billion the other day. Yeah, just 2 days ago. $13 billion. And I remember a friend of mine said, well, he's going to help a lot of people. Oh, yeah, he's going to help fund the mandatory vaccinations that are coming so they can kill us all. Thank you, Jeff. And by the way, my package was a day late. I want my money back. Then he's got these slave laborers, and they're pays them like what? Oh, those Amazon people got to wear a mask all day. That'll be the day. I saw Jeff Bezos walking around yesterday without a mask. All right, listen, I got to get to this interview. This is a groundbreaking interview. Over the years, I've really had many people on my show regarding fake Mother Mary apparitions and how that's Christianity, well, Catholicism and all these things are really nothing but an extension of Mystery Babylon. I can remember talking to a man by the name of Philip Kronzer who had his life ruined because he found out that the Medjugorje apparitions were nothing but a money-bilking operation by the Jesuits, a Jesuit priest by the name of Father Nilica, who since passed away. It's a great story. But I have on a man who claims he saw a Mother Mary apparition, and he found out it was fake when he was a child. He wrote a book called Mother Mary in a Palm Tree, and I want to interview him right now. Let's see if I can find it. I don't have an engineer. Does anybody out there want to be my engineer? Okay, this isn't that easy because I have to play with the volume, but just bear with me if there's a couple seconds of dead COVID virus air. Okay, my guest is Philip R. Rivers, and he's an occult researcher. He's written a book called Mother Mary Sitting in a Palm Tree, and when he was a young boy, claims that he was the victim of a fake Mother Mary apparition, and since then has dedicated his life to the study of the occult, the study of the Babylon mystery religions. And I'm so glad to have Philip here. By the way, you're not any relation to the quarterback of the San Diego team, are you? Greg, no. By the way, are you any relation to that basketball player? No. That's Greg Anthony, the basketball player. Okay, let's get down and get the interview going here, Philip. You claimed that you were a victim of a Mother Mary apparition as a child. Greg, yeah, let me explain it here. I'm a researcher. I dedicated my life to this study after I was a boy. I was about 8 years old, playing with Jerry and Jim, and we were out playing baseball one day. We were living on an island near Tahiti. Yeah, we were playing there. My parents were in the military, and my dad decided after he got out of the Navy to settle down in this place. So here we are playing one day, and all of a sudden we see this Mother Mary figure. It was beautiful. It was so incredibly beautiful. And she started telling us all of these things that were going to happen in the future. Yeah, I said, all these things going to happen in the future. Well, Philip, did you believe it? Well, at the time, Greg, yes. Children are very, very susceptible to these things. So I believed every word of it. Okay. You believed every word of this. So what happened? Well, they tried to make me into an altar boy and then a priest, and I refused. Jim and Jerry, they disappeared. I don't know whatever happened to them. They were gone. Some people say they were killed. I don't know. But anyway, so the years pass, and I start researching it, and I find out that somebody else had seen one of these. And then we went and did a study and went to even Medjugorje, and we found out it's all a hoax. Yeah, they have holographic ways to do this. And they bring down these figures, and then they talk to you. Yeah, they talk to you and tell you all these different things. It's a big hoax. So I studied my catechism as a boy. I was a Catholic. And then I decided to realize this is all a joke. and I did a whole bunch of things. And the reason I called you was because I heard you talking about all these statues, and I've been studying the occult for years. And by the way, how long do we have? Well, we have about 10 minutes. Greg, I can't even sneeze or cough in 10 minutes. Yeah, don't do that, because then you'll be the COVID-19 victim. Yeah. Okay, Greg, this is all serious here. But let me tell you this. Let me read you something. I wrote this book, and I said the Washington people don't know anything about their statues, and they mix Mystery Babylon religion with Christianity here in America. And I believe the leaders in my studies are all sun worshippers. Okay, the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. is modeled after an Egyptian obelisk. It was popular in Egypt and associated with sun worship. It's an erect, upright, pointed column representing the male sex organ of Baal, or Nimrod. Now, ask yourself, Greg, and I want America to ask themselves, why does it be in front of the White House as a symbol of freedom when it is a sex organ of the god Nimrod? That's a good question. I've been talking about that a long time, and in fact, I wanted to start an occult travel agency where we go around really teaching people what these things. Great idea. I'd like to invest in that. But the Bible mentions all this stuff, and we're supposedly a Christian country, but I can't understand why they would do this. That's up to America. I mean, they can, as long as they know, if they know what's going on, I have no qualms about it. But let me tell you, these Mother Mary apparitions are terrible. They're not true. They're all fake. Mother Mary was never even a Christian symbol until the Christianity became mixed up with paganism, maybe around the 5th century. Then you notice the Catholics, they worship Mary. She's never worshipped in the Bible. You can read it. There's a big problem here. Yeah, I know it's a difficult thing because, I was sitting around a Thanksgiving table the last year, I remember, and I got a very interesting Polish family. We all believe a lot of different things, There's my Uncle Stanley. He believes in the beer barrel polka, drinks a lot. Then my Aunt Ruth, she's a Catholic through and through. She's still trying to get me to say my prayers at night. And then, of course, I have the Bible-believing uncle who became a Protestant minister, has his own little church. Oh, they get into such arguments over these things. Oh, Greg, it's toxic. It is just toxic when you talk about this. But people need to know. And that's why I came on. I called you because I hear you're one of a few people talk about statues. People don't know anything. Yeah, I mean, I've told people over the years. I mean, look at the fascist symbols in our House of Representatives. I mean, they shouldn't be there for a country, of freedom. Why Roman fascist symbols? And also, when I spent years in Rome, I walked by that obelisk for years, and I didn't know what it meant. And I was a Catholic. I wanted to be an altar boy. They didn't make me an altar boy, because I flunked the altar boy test, so they made me an epistle reader because I had a good voice. You lucked out. That's a good job. That's really a good job, Greg. I mean, it's a fantastic job. Better than being an altar boy. Yeah, it was. And I used to read the epistle. That's why I'm on the radio now. I learned how to read. Okay. So anyway, tell us about I'm sure you studied the Vatican obelisk. Tell us about it. Well, are you there? Greg, I'm having a little problem here. What? Will you just hold on one second? Okay, I'll hold on. Okay, this is Philip R. Rivers, no relation to the quarterback for the San Diego football team. But anyway, Philip's going to tell us about the obelisk in Rome. Okay, are you there, Philip? Yeah, Greg, I had a problem. My dog is. he's kind of acting up here. He gets a little nervous when I start talking about this. He was, he's a descendant of the dog that was with me when I was on that, when I saw that fake Mother Mary apparition in a tree. It's all in my book called Mother Mary in a Palm Tree. So let me tell you about the obelisk in Rome. It's erected to the temple, probably an obelisk symbol of Phallus. What are you talking about? I don't understand. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little confused. It's a common place, an obelisk at the entrance of a heathen temple. Okay, so it's common in the old days to have an obelisk where the pagans were. So I could never figure out why Rome had it until I studied it. And there's an Egyptian obelisk in St. Peter's Square. As you know, you've walked by it many times. But this is not a copy of the Egyptian obelisk as in Washington, in the monument there. It's the same obelisk that stood in Egypt in ancient times at the pagan temple of Heliopolis, city of the sun god. And Emperor Caligula in 37 to 41 AD hauled it from Egypt to Rome at a great expense to his circus at Vatican Hill, which is Vatican Hill is built on a pagan place. I mean, why? Heliopolis is the Greek name of the Hebrew name, and which has the center of ancient Egyptian sun worshipping. So Pope Sixtus, I don't know where he got that name, the fifth, Sixtus the Fifth, doesn't make sense, had the 83-foot, 320-ton obelisk moved to the center from St. Peter's Square, where it resides today, symbolic of the merger of Egyptian sun worship. Well, wow. I can't ask people why it is there, if it's supposedly a Christian symbol. Well, Greg, let's be clear here. Catholicism, they mix you up. It's not Christianity. It's Catholicism. Okay. Yeah, I was born a Catholic. I know all about it. I wanted to be a priest when I was 10. Yeah, they're good. They're good at that. I hope you didn't ever continue. Well, no, of course not. Of course not. But anyway, let me tell you, this Mother Mary apparition, I'm going to be very clear here. And you're going to have me on again, because she was saying crazy things back then when I was just a kid. And she even predicted this COVID virus thing. She said a big plague will come across, a fake plague, and people will be led like zombies all over the world. And if the country's going to turn into a socialist country like the Jesuits created in Paraguay in the 1600s. She told you all that? Yeah. Yeah. She told you all of that? Yeah, she even told me that there will be a president with orange hair for 4 years, and he will then retire, and the world will go to hell in a handbasket. Okay. Hey, Philip, we are really interested in this stuff. I mean, people, like the Bible says, are wanting for a lack of knowledge, but I'm all out of time. Greg, something? I know these radio interviews are short. You got to have me on longer. I mean, this is ridiculous. I will, Philip. Don't worry about it. That was Philip R. Rivers. He had a Mother Mary apparition that he says is fake, like the rest of them. And you can get his book called Mother Mary in a Palm Tree. You can get it at Amazon and other places. Thank you, Greg. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, that was Philip R. Rivers. Okay, we're running out of time here in the first half hour, but we're going to get Philip R. Rivers on again. I mean, that's quite a story, and it's a subject I've always been interested in, ever since I was a kid when we had all those Mother Mary statues in my house. So it's very pertinent to what's going on today, and we'll be talking to a couple good people in the second half hour, hopefully. Hopefully we'll be back. You know what happens when you do these kind of stories. Oh, they get really angry at you. Yes, they do. But anyway, back in 3 minutes on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app, for all of your mobile devices. Streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds, welcome back to the greatest show on earth. I'm your ringmaster, Greg Anthony, here for the COVID virus circus and all that comes with it. This show is the greatest show on earth because it's better than having to be Joan Rivers. Yes, Joan Rivers, poor girl, died after she said that Michelle Obama was a tranny. Oh, my goodness. The truth comes out. But no one will believe her. Nobody. Yeah, that's why we're here. You know, I give her more credence than anybody over there at the White House, you know. But anyway, we are the greatest show on earth, and people go, why? Well, if Trump can say it, why can't we? And by the way, let's get rid of God bless you. Not because I think it's bad, you know, not because I'm an atheist or anything. I'm only talking about God bless you after you sneeze. Because right now, sneezing is against, you know, the Constitution of the United States. Yes. If you sneeze or you cough, you have to immediately go into a gulag. But God doesn't want to be associated with that. So basically, in the old days, I tried to figure out why did they say God bless you in the first place. And I guess they thought at one time that when you sneezed, the devil was coming out of you or something. So you said, God bless you, to get away the spell of the devil. Well, you know what? It is. And guess what? When you sneeze, say, I hate Dr. Dracula Anthony Fauci. That's what we have to do. That's the only time you can say God bless you. Any other time, it's okay with me. But not when you sneeze anymore. And in fact, you know, do you find yourself really like me? I go out, you know, and I go, oh boy, I hope I don't sneeze. If I do, I'm going to be banished from society. Boy, these people, what they'll believe, it's really insane what people believe, isn't it? Well, anyway, I got a lot of good things for you today. I got an interview coming up, and I'll do it in a few minutes. I got an interview coming up with a guy. Let me see. Make sure his name's Andrew Carmichael. He wants to be called Andrew Carmichael. Yeah. Interview with him. He's had the coronavirus 8 times, and he's been tested God knows how many times. And he's at home. He hasn't seen the light of day since January or something. And he has gone through every kind of problem. He's trying to get out of his house. They finally put a bracelet on him, on his ankle. And you're going to love this interview. But it reminds me, there is a story going out. This is Hardin, Connecticut. A couple there wanted to visit their parents in Michigan. So she said, I better get a COVID virus test, the wife, before I go so I can make the trip. Well, that was her first mistake. She tested positive. So then, guess what happens? The government in Hardin County, Kentucky, I thought that was a red state. Hardin County, Kentucky, said that they had to sign a self-isolation order, so they couldn't leave their house. She refused. So the police came. Then the police, she refused to sign it. Then they took her to court, and the court ordered her to have an ankle bracelet put on, and she's on house arrest with her husband. Now, this is unbelievable, but it's going on in America all over the place. And it's only going to get worse. But I got a guy on here who, I'll get to him in a minute. But I wanted to tell you, something here before we go on any further. I have always kind of talked about the Jesuits and learned about them in a strange way. And, I've always, I didn't know anything about them until I went to Rome, and I worked as a journalist there, and I found out about them, and, they were nice. The first time I ran into a Jesuit was at Loyola High School in outside Chicago. I went to Notre Dame High School, which was the Holy Cross Fathers. But the Jesuits were over at Loyola, and they always were considered, even back then, great educators. You're not getting as good an education with the Jesuit. You should be at Loyola. And I'd asked Father Zell that at Notre Dame. He said, those Jesuits, they think they're the best. But you're going to get a great education here, Greg. Okay, Father, just don't hit me with that paddle again. But anyway, it taught me a lesson. I remember one time I wasn't paying attention in history class, and the priest came by and cracked me with that ring, Notre Dame ring. And I went home and told my dad. I said, Dad, this priest hit me with a ring. And he said, good, I hope the next time he punches you and knocks you out. That's the way it should be. Now, that poor priest, the poor guy, he would have been, taken to court. Well, I don't know about that. There's so many of these priests that molest children that never get taken to court. They're actually protected by the court system. They're sent to another diocese. They do it all over again. It's like when you go to confession, you've bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I went outside today against the government orders, and I sneezed in public and refused to leave the restaurant. Oh, my son, say 5 Hail Marys and 10 Our Fathers, and we will forgive you. And that's by a priest who has probably molested 30,000 children. I mean, this world doesn't make sense to me. So basically, I've been doing all these things on the Jesuits. And I said a long time ago, people should know where it begins. I said, all roads lead to Piazza San Pietro, or leads to Borgo Santo Spirito, where the Jesuit headquarters are. And when it comes to power, let me see if I got this straight. When it comes to power, leadership, and initiation into the devious, diabolical Jesuit Vatican Illuminati, in the 1980s, the Vatican bank scandal brought to light the many connections between the Freemasons, Illuminati, the Vatican, Jesuits, the Mafia. Secret initiations are said to take place in the catacombs of the Vatican, and I asked the question way back then, was Pope John Paul killed after 33 days in office for wanting to expose this stuff? And so there was a whole big deal going on there, and I said, while Mass is being said in the Sistine Chapel and tourists are being shown the works of Michelangelo, deep within the bowels of the Vatican sits a large circular room with 13 separate chambers, each leading to a distinct catacomb, and when a mummified body is placed in front of each doorway, a young child is then brutally sacrificed with long golden knife during what is said to be a secret induction ceremony for the members of the New World Order. Okay, now, ask yourself, is that a movie or is it real? Okay, and that's a question that goes on all the time. I'm sure they made movies about this, but is it real? And so I spent a lot of time trying to find out. And during that time, I found out a lot more things about history of the Jesuits and getting thrown out of countries, fomenting revolutions, things like that. And it all started out by talking to one of them at just an impromptu meeting on a street right parallel to the Vatican. And it was a street that changed its name, but it used to be known as the Strada di Buttani, which is the Street of the Whores. And up until about right after the Second World War, that's where the priests used to go to get, well, one side of the street was the women of the night, the other side were the homosexuals. And I got that from a barista who worked there. And it's since changed. And then they've moved it to a street far away from the Vatican so that all the tourists now go to the same street and buy holy water and all that. And they make a fortune on it. I don't know how business is now. It's probably terrible. But that's the world we live in. All the little people are losing money while Jeff Bezos made $13 billion the other day. These high-tech companies are rolling over in money, and like Google, Facebook. People have nothing else to do, right? Everybody's going to there. They're making a fortune, but yet they're taking down all these videos that are opposed to them. Yeah, that really want to see America flourish. Yeah, so they're getting you from one end to the other. And boy, I'll tell you. For example, yesterday I did a show, and on First Amendment Radio. They have a YouTube channel. The show was fine. It's still up. I put it on my site, the same exact show, and they took it down. Now, they're not very consistent, are they? But then I heard they are now hiring thousands and thousands of people to virtually patrol the internet for anything that is contrary to the government story about COVID-19 or anything else. I'm sure anything like, the Vatican is involved in our foreign and domestic policy will be considered hate speech, as they collect billions of dollars from this COVID-19 thing. Did you see about the money these people are getting? I mean, this is crazy. The Vatican, through its diocese, has collected something like $1.5 billion from COVID virus relief money for the church, for their schools and all this. That is really unconstitutional. But it doesn't matter. There is no constitution anymore. Then, on the same token, we just found out that since 2013, they've been collecting $3 billion a year from China. That's why they're not talking much about what's going on in Hong Kong. And that's why America is allowing this to happen. Look, they all work together. You're going to see exactly what's going on in China here. And we talk about it all the time. And all the BS you hear about COVID-19 and all this stuff is leading to a one-world government. That's all it boils down to. And so you better get ready for it. But anyway, back to my guest. This guy, if you think this, Trump got on there yesterday and confirmed my true belief that he's just a figurehead talking a big game. And he said basically this: we've done 60 million tests. This will get worse before it gets better. Then he said we have mandatory vaccinations for sure within 3 months. Now, come on, patriots. This is a hoax. He wouldn't be saying this if he wasn't on the New World Order team, just playing the role of the patriot. Yes, the America First man. But then you got bumbling Biden fronting for the globalists. It's a real mess. But you know what? Americans want their politics simple. There's good guys and bad guys, and they pick who they want to be good guys and bad guys. They don't realize they're all bad guys at the top. And the only way to solve this is to break the curse that's preventing people from understanding this. It's the only thing that I can think of. And we'll have Slats Grobnik on again if I could ever get him out of the gulag. He had an interview on my show the other day. Maybe I'll replay it. But anyway, let's get to my guest. And he's going to tell you a harrowing story. Now, the testing is ridiculous. For example, they give all different kinds of tests. And some of them that they put up in your nose can be very dangerous. It's, yeah. And they don't know what they're testing, so they can test. One person gets tested positive. It's insane. And then they're going to come up with a vaccine that's really insane. And normally you talk to doctors, okay, some that agree say that some vaccines are good. It takes 7 years sometimes. They did this in like 2 days. But anyway, then there's a group like me that subscribe to no vaccines. I'll trust my immune system, even though you're filling my body up with all these bad food, bad water, bad air, i.e. chemtrails. Okay, for one. So let's get to my guest. Okay, and I have to always do this quickly. I don't have an engineer. If you want to be my engineer, contact me. It's not a very good job, though. Here's my guest. Okay, this is a whopper of a story. My guest is Andrew. You can call me Andy. Okay. Andy Carmichael. He's from Newcastle, Pennsylvania, and Andrew has quite a story. Call me Andy. Okay, I'll call you Andy. Sorry. This is Andy Carmichael, okay? He's had the COVID virus 6 times. Greg has had it seven times? 7 times. Okay, Andy said he's had it 7 times, and I'm asking, how is this possible to get the COVID virus 7 times, and Andy's here to tell you. I think it started somewhere, the first time he was diagnosed was in March, or middle of March. Greg, let me just tell you this. I've had it 8 times. 8 times I've been tested for COVID virus, and it's incredible. Incredible. I hope people can understand, but my tongue is a little swollen from so many testing. The testing just starts to swell your tongue. But listen, this didn't start in March. Well, Andy, when did it start then? It started, Greg, I was in China. I'm a rock band. I'm a bass player in a rock band. They were doing a concert in China when this whole thing broke. And we were having a blast in China. The whole thing broke. And before we could get back to the States, we had to do a test. It was in February, 1st of February. I remember because my birthday is February 13th. And so I get this first test in China. I'm scared out of my living shoes. And they take the test. They say, I'm positive. I go, what for? I never heard of this. They say COVID virus. So they locked me in a hotel room. They wouldn't let me leave. The rest of the band went back to Joplin, Missouri for another concert. So they got another bass player. And I lost my job. So I figured I'd never get to China. They wanted to let me back to America. I went to the, what do they call it? It's a consulate, I think, there in China, right? Are they really cooperative? Greg, they were terrible. Terrible. In fact, let me just tell you this. That's the first time they tested me positive. So 3 weeks go by. 3 weeks. And I'm hiding everywhere. So I snuck out. How did you do that in China? Well, I put on one of those Chinese hats. Those hats, they wear, the big hat brim. And then I made myself look Chinese. And so I walked to the docks, and I got on a ship, and I hid with all the rice. I dug a hole, hid with the rice, and I landed in New York. So I get off. Oh, what a trip. I didn't think I'd make it. But it was terrible, Greg. Just terrible. So, okay, so now, Andy, you've been tested 1 time. Well, actually 2. They did it twice there. Okay, so twice. So you come back to the States and you figure, everything is fine. I thought so. But they tested me in New York. And I tested positive again. So they quarantined me again. I haven't been out since February. And what is it now? July? It's July, and I have not been out. Okay, Andrew, so that's 3 times now you've been tested. Okay. So, Greg, finally I get to my house. And they got me there with this thing on bracelet. I can't go anywhere. It's house arrest. So finally they wouldn't come to test me anymore, but they wouldn't let me out. So my 2 weeks are up. 2 weeks. So I decided to play a game with them. I figured this way I'll get out. So I have a parakeet named Chicky. Chicky the parakeet. And so I sent in some saliva from Chicky in my name. Guess what? It comes back positive. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't tell them that I was the parakeet. So there's another 2 weeks. So the next time I figured, this has got to work. There's 4 tests. This has got to work. So I sent in the blood. I took a little blood from my cat. He got into a little scrape with Chicky. So I took the blood from my cat. Yes, from Chicky. And I sent it in with my name. Positive again. There's another month. That's 5 times. So now I don't know what to do. I don't get more pets. No more pets. So I go to the neighbor and I take the dog's saliva from Buster. Sent it in. Positive again. Positive, Greg. And let me tell you, this is going on and on and on. It started in China. And now, listen, it's July. Almost, I've not been outside once. I don't have a job. Nothing. My tongue is swollen, almost shut sometimes. It's terrible. Okay, so let's just recap this from our this reminds me of a story. What, Greg? That sounded a little better. Well, I held my tongue like this. Okay, yes, well. Well, go back to the way you were talking. Okay, Greg, I will. I'm trying to do it. It hurts. Like I talk real high. Thick. Okay, let me do some talking for you. 6, 7 tests. 8. Okay, 8 tests. You sent in saliva from your bird, your cat, blood, you got Buster the dog, and a couple other pets that I have marked down here. And they all came back positive. So you wonder, you've written your congressman and told him the story, and he has not. Your dogs, those are my puppies. They're going absolutely crazy. I got some dogs. We're going to be testing those people. We're going to test the dogs. That's why I got 3 from the pound. Okay, so he's got 3 more dogs from the pound. You heard him there. I don't think they want to get a little needle stuck into him. But anyway, so he's been tested 8 times. He sent in tests from all of his pets. He's got 3 more dogs to see if they test positive. Can I ask you a question? Do you think the COVID virus is real? Greg, I don't know. There's 2 things it could be. The pets have it, and people, or the hoax. It's a hoax. Okay. So you sent a letter to your congressman. No response. He doesn't want to deal with it. And now you're at home since February you've been locked down. Do you ever hope to get out? Greg, please tell everybody on your show to help me. Andy Carmichael. Email you and then I'll talk. Okay, Andy. Listen, I want to thank you so much. I got no time. I know your mouth's bothering you. Yes, thank you so much. I know it's bothering you, and I just want to end the show by this. This reminds me of when the president of Tanzania, by the way, Andy, if you're listening now on your radio, the president of Tanzania sent in, and this is in Africa, John Magufuli, he sent in the saliva of a pheasant, the blood of a goat, and what was the last one? The juice of a papaya. And this was months ago, and they all came back positive. So we have something going on here where this is a hoax. They're just giving you positive tests to keep you isolated and away from people. And of course, the masks do not work. We've talked about that. We'll do that on another interview. But I want to thank my guest, Andrew Carmichael. He's had been diagnosed 8 times, and he says he feels great. He's not ill. The only thing is he's got a swollen tongue from so many tests. Okay, Andrew Carmichael. Okay, how'd you like to be that guy? Well, we got a lot to look forward to, don't we? Contract tracers, everything else. Hey, come back tomorrow, because I want to tell you about my story of scuba diving. People know that listen to my show that I'm an avid scuba diver, and I've not been allowed to go in the ocean. I guess it is just Jeffrey Epstein's ocean. All those people are probably now heading out to his island where he's dead, or he's probably out there. I heard this, but I don't know if it's true, that he's been given a new identity in Argentina, and he's been given Spanish lessons, and he's now got black hair and a mustache. Juan Valdez is his name, I heard. But anyway, I'm sure they'll use that island for good reason. And I got a harrowing story tomorrow to tell you regarding my scuba diving trip recently. And I hope you guys know what I'm planning to do. Finally, there's nowhere in the world to go. People are calling me, where can we go? Nowhere. They got the world locked down. I mean, you can find some isolated place, but I'm traveling west or east or north or south, and you're going to hit an ice wall. I'm buying a little boat. I'm going to do it. Why not? They're not going to tell me to wear a mask or anything. I'm just going to keep going. You just hit your compass. Just take your compass, and I'm going to, I know how to navigate by the stars with a sextant. And I'm going to just head west till I hit the ice wall. I'm going to climb the ice wall. I've got one of those astronaut suits that's going to protect me from climates of 100 degrees below zero. And I'm going to keep walking till I find that promised land. Yeah. That's what Admiral Byrd told us back in the 50s. Nobody talks about that. The Antarctica Treaty, all that kind of stuff. They're keeping us out of that promised land. That's where they're going when they turn the world into to hell in a handbasket. I had to say it again. All right, listen, go out, cut a rug. Have a good evening. Say you love your family members right to their faces. And get closer than 6 feet. Back tomorrow on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.